Hey everybody, welcome to Cousin Jack Carves. Today we're going to be carving a little wizard. This is sort of a beginner project. It should go fairly quickly. And we'll show you all the steps that you need to carve your very own little wizard. Or whittle, if you want to call it whittling. Alright? So we're starting out with a piece of basswood, and this block is 2 1/4 inches. I've got a little handle here that I can hold on to, but it's 2 1/4. It's a 1 by 1 inch block. Now you can see I've added center lines on each side. I recommend that you do that. I've also done an X from corner to corner so I can find the center on the top, and I recommend that too. Other than that, there are a few markings to get you started. So I've decided that my nose is going to be on this side of my block. What I'll do is come up from the bottom 1 inch, make a little mark right there, and for my nose on these little characters I like to make a circle around that mark about the size of a pencil eraser, maybe larger. I recommend it you go on the large side because you can always remove what you don't need. So there we go. My nose is going to be here. And you may have noticed we're carving on the corner for this project. On the other corners, we're going to put in markings like this, and I'll show you what that is. All we're going to do is come up and make 2 marks to get us started. So we'll come up from the bottom 1 1/4 right there, and 3/4 inches, make a mark. So here's the 1 1/4, here's our 3/4 inch mark. At the 3/4 inch mark, what we're going to do is come in from the side, make a 1/4 inch line, just like that. Then we're just going to connect the dots a little bit. We have our 1 1/4 mark up here. We're going to make a connection with that 1/4 inch line. And then we make another connection from there down to the bottom of our piece, like this. Come around the other side of that corner, do the same thing. Put in a 1/4 inch line, and then make those connections. So what this does, it gives us a guide for the cloak and the shape of the cloak that the wizard is wearing. Just like that. Because you can see this profile, you can see how it angles, right? That's what the markings are going to be for. So today I'm going to be using my Flex Cut KN13 detail knife. It's sharpened and stropped and ready to roll. And I'll start by carving in those notches. So here's my nose on the front. Come over here to this corner, and where I have that line, just give it a little rock, slice up to it, and slice down to it. Same thing on the other corners. Like so. So what I want to do next is sort of connect those marks that we have here at the 1 1/4, the top line. This is going to be the top of the cloak and where that cloak meets the hat. Just to give it some more reference, okay? Then we'll continue to remove that material, forming that cloak and the shape of it. So we're getting that shape for the cloak. If I want to accentuate that, what I'll do is use a scoop cut where I'm turning my blade, scooping, making a contour, right? A curve. So we can see this angle. If we scoop it, we start to get that curve coming along there. And the opposite from the top down. Okay, so we've got ourselves a start there. What I want to do next is put in a reference for the brim of this hat. So I'm coming off the top of the nose here, and I angle that down to about where I have that 1 inch mark, but over here, like so, and bring that here, and again slope the hat down. So with this hat, we have the top sort of flopped over to our left, his right, if you're the little wizard guy. So if I want to do that, I'll come up here onto the top of my block, and with the nose being here, I want to flop that over so it's heavy to this side, but I also want to push it back. I'll put 2/3 of it behind the center and 1/3 in front. And again, go heavy on whichever side you want to flop it over to. Now you might want to flop it to the front or the back, you know, make it yours. This gives us a good reference point as we begin to remove more wood. So I'll start here at the front. The brim of the hat is going to touch the nose, so I don't want to remove where that happens. I'm going to come above that brim, just start rounding. On the corners, we know we have a line here, that's the top of the cloak. I don't want to remove that. I'm going to come above that line. Like that. Okay, we're making some pretty good progress. Let's continue with shaping that hat. I'll tell you what, this little KN13 detail knife is a really good size, perfect blade for this kind of a small carving. Holds an edge really well. All right, so here's the nose. Here's our top. We'll just keep on bringing this hat up to a point, more or less. All right, so we've got some shape happening there. Now the next thing we're going to do is push that hat back into the cloak. And this step here is really what's going to make your carving sort of stand out. But you can see how this hat gets pushed way back in here and the cloak extends out. Here's a top view, so you can see it from the top. So I'm going to show you how to do that, how to get that hat pushed back in behind the cloak. What we will do is we have this line that we've drawn here for the angle of the brim. We're just going to carry that out here to the edge on each side. And yeah, it meets up really right where this point in the cloak sort of has that crease in it, like that. All right? So what we will do is come over here where we have that edge, we're going to come in about 1/8 of an inch, like that. And we are going to use a triangle cut to start getting some depth. We'll also do the same thing over here. Here's our edge. We'll come in about 1/8. So let's go ahead and do that. With the triangle cut, we're going to plunge the point of the knife right in there deep. Yeah, it's deep. And bring that blade down this way. Then we come at it from this side. We'll go right on that pencil line. Get that in there nice and deep. Bring it out this way. And then we'll take the chip out. And you can see we're already getting that depth. Pushing that hat back in. We'll continue to work on it. We'll just come back in here again. Pushing that hat back into that corner. There you go. We've got a good start on that side. Let's do the same thing over here. We'll hit it from this angle. And we'll come in this way. Like so. And get that depth. We'll just continue that stop cut for a second. So there you go, we have that depth starting to happen. We'll start to remove some more of this material around the hat. Get these bandsaw marks off, continue shaping the front of the hat. We're making some good progress with that. And up next, we're going to put in this little bit of a ledge here where the cloak is sort of overlapping. The hat is tucked down into that cloak, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So we'll come along that line that we made for the top of the cloak, and we'll put in a stop cut all the way around the back. And this is a little pointy right here. I'm going to get rid of that point first. There we go. Now if you want yours to be pointy, go for it, right? You can you can have a pointy cloak. Alright, so we've got that stop cut. Now all I'm going to do is come to the mark, it's probably a 1/16. Just bring my knife down like so. Just taking a little bit. You can see starting to form that little ledge. So here's the top view where we've started to separate the cloak from the hat. Now just for finishing, I'm going to scoop a little bit upwards from there. At this point, we're just going to take that out. Just thinning out this side a little bit. I saw that the cloak is a little thick right here. And you do want to look at symmetry. You want to look at this side compared to this side and see how they look. Okay, so this hat is going to flop to this side. So what I'll do next is put that in. From the top, I want to build that flop here. So I'm going to come down off the top about 1/4 of an inch and just give myself a stop cut like this and slice up to it. Just like that. Next, I'll come over to the opposite side over here and start pulling that material towards the side I want to flop to. Now I'm going to put in a little angle stop cut. There's the angle I want. See that? Same on the back, put in that angle. See, it's a little wide here. I'm going to narrow that down. If that removes your little wedge cut that you put in there, just put it back in. I think what I'll like to do next is maybe give it a little bit of flair. Do a little scoop cut. So there we go. We have our flopping hat. And up next we'll show you how this cloak gets connected. So we have our line that we had put in earlier where the cloak kind of angles out. We're going to carry that down into this center line on the front of the carving. We'll do that on both sides. Just carry that down. And this is how we bring out that cloak. Just like that. And I'll also put in a stop cut for this nose just to make sure we don't do anything. We unintentionally remove material. Stop cut for the nose. There we go. Now we'll put in a stop cut for that cloak. I'll start here at the bottom. Follow my pencil line all the way up here, like so. This is how we start to get that separation. Now here at the bottom, we'll use a triangle cut right here in this corner. Now we'll come to the other side, put in our stop cut, and then relieve that. We'll use the triangle cut again here in the corner. We're already starting to shape the cloak, bring out the beard and the face. So that's coming along nicely. Let's get rid of some of these marks here. Now that green wants to go the other direction. If you feel your knife grabbing, turn around, go the opposite way. Should be okay up here. So now that we have started defining where that cloak is going to be, earlier we tucked that hat back into the cloak, and now what we're going to do is redraw the line for the hat brim. We're going to tuck the face under the hat brim. And yes, more triangle cuts. So this time we'll come underneath that pencil line. Like so. Put in triangle cut below that. And then we'll come up here next to the nose. Bring a stop cut down along that brim. And next to the nose, another triangle cut right here. This is helping us to start create the nose and then also give us that brim for the hat. Do the same thing on this side. We'll have a triangle cut below the pencil line. Make that stop cut from the nose, the side of the nose, out. And then put in another triangle cut next to that nose. So we're starting to bring out the nose, getting our hat brim situated. So where the top of the nose touches the bottom of the hat, we're just going to put in a little stop cut. Not too deep. Just a little bit of separation, making a shadow. And we'll slice up to it like this. So we're tucking that nose back underneath the brim. Clean that up a little. And then we'll start shaping this nose. We can come from the center to the top. Every once in a while you want to look at your profile, see what that nose is looking like. You got a piece of wood here, a chip that's kind of sticking. Get an angle going here at the bottom. Now we'll start to make a few scooping cuts to give some shape to the bridge of the nose. So yeah, he's got a big old nose. It's looking pretty good. We'll just clean this up a little bit right here. Now we'll just start forming shape for the beard and the mustache. Again, that wood grain on this side wants to go the opposite direction. As we do this, we're getting more separation between the beard and the cloak near the bottom. Let's go ahead and draw in a mustache for this guy. Now with these wizard characters, I like to have the mustache, coming down like this. When I think about a wizard, that's kind of what I visualize, is that mustache coming in a downward sort of motion, right? Not really a happy turned up sort of mustache. So I'll start here. I've got this angle coming off of both sides here where we say it's a nostril or what have you. Start here, bring that out, not all the way over to the edge, but about keep 1/8 of an inch away from it. Do the same thing here. Bring that down. It looks fairly symmetrical. Okay. And then from the center, just bring that out. This side looks wider, yeah. So before I do anything, I'm going to thin that down a little bit. Okay. Now we'll cut in that mustache. First we'll put in a stop cut along that top. Carry that down like so. Do the same thing on the opposite side. Just kind of following the pencil line. In the center, I like to put in just a little triangle cut just to get a little separation. Come in like this and like that. Take out a tiny little sliver of wood like that. Then we'll put in the stop cut along the bottom of the mustache. we'll just slice right up to it. Make sure you get some depth for this. You don't want to be just putting in some really tiny little line. If you were going to do that, you just get your wood burner out and use that to put in your detail. So yes, get some depth, give him a nice bushy sort of a mustache. And we'll come back in here one more time, clean up that spot where we had that little triangle. Now we have a stop cut along the top as well. And making these cuts, we're bringing out the mustache and then also helping to form the cheek. There we go. What I like to do with these wizards is kind of give a hollow look for the eyes. You can see just kind of a hollow, a shadow. So for that, we'll just come up here. We're going to use the triangle cut again and create that depth. There we go. Quick and simple, very easy. Same thing here. Triangle cut from that side and from this side, and then slice up to it. It's like you're carving eye sockets, more or less. There we go. So next, for the beard, you have a shape. Take a look at that shape, see if you're okay with it. I think this shape is okay. With your knife, you can certainly come in here and start carving your beard, make some curved lines like this. And then come back at it from the other side. Like so. And carve yourself a beard, just like this one, with your knife. You can also, of course, use a V-tool, and I've got my large file V-tool here. You can come in with that V-tool and just start putting in some curved lines. This makes it go very quickly, of course. And it's nice to have V-tools. And then turn it around, kind of cut up towards the mustache too. I want to be careful, of course, when you're headed towards the mustache. And speaking of the mustache, for that, I have this little micro V tool. This is a flex cut tool. And just come in here and put in some little whiskers. Now, wherever you have these areas that you need to clean up, a lot of times if you come across the grain, that'll work out pretty well. So you can see how I cleaned up that spot. Yeah, this is a little bit rough. But I think you have the idea, folks. I think you've got the information that you're going to need to go ahead and carve yourselves one of these wizards. There's another thing I want to show you here. When you're doing your sort of finishing cuts, what I recommend when it comes to the hat brim on the front is to come in here and take a downward angle and use that angle to get a nice finish on the hat brim. It also removes the sharp corner from the brim, which, you don't want a sharp corner on a hat brim. Not for one of these guys. I want to remind you, I do have a second channel, and I hope you're already watching. It's called Woodcarving Weekly, and every week I provide all kinds of great resources, tell you about other carvers, tools, techniques, you name it. There's great information, Woodcarving Weekly, and I invite you to take a look. I'll put up a little link for you right here. And I appreciate you being here today. Please hit the like button and check out Woodcarving Weekly. Thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you next time.